we keep thinking that this teaching, this prophecy, that prophecy is so important for what's going to happen in the next year, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, or beyond. Does it really matter? Spirit matters. I'd like to address the first question we have, and then we're going to do prayers or songs or rosaries between each question. Of course, we have our intermission in a little less than a half hour. So, the first question I received is from Wayne Purdon. He says, this morning I woke up with the name Rene Guénon, Guenon, in my mind. I wrote it down so I could search it on my computer and the internet. During the morning, I prayed to Saint Germain to inspire me with a question to ask during the darshan that he would like to answer. So I composed the question below. Then this afternoon I searched Rene Guénon and found a quote from him in an article that I wrote, this is Wayne, that he wrote in 2011, and he forgot about it. When he read the quote, he was amazed. Here's the quote. Rene Guénon, in The Lord of the World, wrote about a coming planetary initiation in which both people and the earth are awakened to new potentialities, to new and higher energies. In this initiation, solar and interstellar radiations will infuse the earth with new life and fertilize the evolutionary seeds that lie dormant within it. This can manifest as a cataclysmic passage of purification of the planet with earthquakes, floods, the extinction of species, and upheavals in human society. Yet, at the same time, creative energies will pour forth to incubate new religions, new scientific discoveries, and new social and political systems. For instance, Synarchy. So that was from him, Guénon, in 1983. So Wayne's question. Omram said in A New Dawn, the age of Aquarius is coming closer and bringing with it its teaching of the collectivity. The synarchic order, or synarchic order, will be established and will prove itself. Can you explain the collectivity and synarchic order and how this will be better than our present two-party representative republic? And how will the energies of Aquarius enable Americans to accept this new form of government? The synarchic model is a divine theocracy where those of the highest attainment rise to positions first of responsibility and accountability, which then yields authority. In other words, they are true servant leaders of the highest order. Jesus said that the greatest among you must be the servant of all. So the entire synarchic order as a hierarchical structure is based on this truth, that the greatest among us must be the servant of all. True servant leadership is the Aquarian model, because when we have leaders who are just, righteous, spiritually advanced, ordered in their personal life as well as their public life, in other words, they don't hide behind anything in the private life because their private life is virtuous, they are examples. And by the very virtue of their virtue, they are exemplars of what the Aquarian model of a true virtuous society and a solar civilization is. So people look up to them because of their attainment, their humility, their purity, their graceful lives, their ordered life. There's not a disparity between what they do in private and what they do in public because it is one. They are not feigning anything because they are real. they are true. They are true blue and true violet and true pink and all the other colors. In other words, they have mastered themselves in the 7 rays by being Christic. They live in that prism of the Christ consciousness, and therefore they exhibit a beautiful field of energy, a divine biofield around them, which exudes this holiness, this sense of inner beingness that is giving and receiving in perfect balance. The alpha and the omega within them is harmonized so that they are expressive of both the male and the female aspects of the Divine One, whether they are in a male body or a female body. They have that harmony and balance so that everything they do is touched by angels. Everything they accomplish is fulfilled by grace. Everything that they enter into is fulfilled in accord with the golden rule and cosmic law because they are servitors of humanity. Not just one nation or people, they serve all nations and all peoples by virtue of their virtue. So they may be in one area of the globe, even in one country, and they serve the people that they are pledged to serve and vow to serve. Yet they also serve all of humanity because we are all one. So within the synarchic order, you will see the dissolving of all manner of barriers among people of different persuasions, religions, etc. And a new type of one world religion will occur, but this is not the one world religion of those who seek to control us. It is an understanding that all religions must yield to the one true faith and truth of righteousness, following the golden rule, and of living in accord with this law of the one. This breaking down of barriers is part of the means whereby the synarchic order may occur. And those barriers are prejudice of all kinds, being in any way an affront to any person on earth because of your speech patterns, your behaviors, your view of others. There is no looking down upon any part of life. There's no class system. For instance, the class system in India for many centuries, where some are in a lower class than others. We have one humanity. We have one high ideal of what a citizen of the world and of the universe is, which is a righteous person. A citizen of the universe respects all life on all spheres, all planets, all solar systems, and all galaxies, because life is one. And even though life is in many forms in the material universe, in the spiritual dimensions, life is one, because spirit is one. So the synarchic order follows the model of the true brother-sisterhood of the Ascended Masters, and the hierarchical order of that is that those of the highest attainment move to a higher order that is beyond the limitations of the human domain. So in the higher domains, yes, there is hierarchy, but it is based on spiritual attainment and one's closeness to God, the Father Mother, the all-powerful one, the Father Mother God. So, for instance, the 9 choirs of angels, we know there's a hierarchy. And we start with the angels and the archangels, then it goes up all the way to the cherubim and seraphim. Well, on earth we can have, within the synarchic order, an understanding of hierarchy, yet it becomes very easy to see who has attainment and who doesn't, because those with the greater attainment have greater light. They have greater effulgence in their auras, and their auras shine like the sun. So the greater responsibility you take, the greater authority you are given based on your spirituality. So how will this manifest? How do we move from a two-party system to a holy synarchic order? Well, people have to understand that duality breeds division. And when you have a two-party system, one is vying against the other because their worldview is different, and it doesn't mean that one side is better than the other, yet each side has to try to understand the other through a type of righteous communication that we can call compassionate communication or nonviolent communication. And when this technique of communicating from the heart, not from the mind or the brain, from the heart manifests, then people will understand that we are one, we come from the same source, there's no reason to be at odds with each other or at each other's throat all the time, or judging others for their beliefs or their view, because every view is valid based on where that individual has come from, at least in this dimension. From a higher view, God sees all, God loves all, God doesn't judge from the human domain, God simply is and sets in motion through the law of cause and effect this universal law of reciprocity that we call karma, whereby people can learn from their actions and the reactions, and then they can master who they are, evolve, and become closer to God. So the synarchic order is the means whereby truth is unveiled, because the leader of the synarchic order always tells the truth. There is never a lie or a veil between what that one speaks and the reality of what is. The true synarchic leader with the greatest attainment always works on behalf of the benefit of all life. And there's no, justice system that is skewed toward those who have money. That cannot be in the synarchic order. There is divine justice at all levels of society, because levels actually kind of dissolve too. So more and more a society that is just and righteous, people have what they require and they don't have excess, or if they have greater abundance, it is naturally shared in such a way that some who may have a lesser opportunity can be afforded the grace of a greater opportunity to then rise higher through enlightened self-interest and through a meritocracy that is based on virtue. So to end the duality is the big question of the age. To end this duality and to enter into unity. And we must all work toward that unified field of understanding by first applying the principle of becoming one within ourselves. And when we are harmonized within ourselves, when we are balanced in the alpha and the omega within us, when we balanced our four lower bodies, balanced our threefold flame, worked on our psychology and balanced it, so that we are remaining always in a harmonized state of divine self-appreciation, divine self-illumination, divine self-fulfilling in all things the will of God, then that balance and that harmony exudes into the entire civilization and culture. And then naturally, all the differences disappear. It happens in the twinkling of an eye when people are awakened, illumined, enlightened, and self-realized. You may ask, well, how long, O Lord, until this occurs? It's not about time. It's not about a human timeline. It is about attunement and at-one-ment. So you can be a part of this process through your own attunement or at-one-ment with God. And within you, this synarchy reigns. You are one with your Christ self, your Buddhic self, your Buddha nature. You are one with your I Am Presence. And so within you, the synarchic order already is being given birth to. Then you simply fashion and refashion day by day the elements of that synarchic order that lives, moves, and has its being within you into the world of form around you through your gifts, talents, and your joyful service to life. So we don't look outwardly to see when, oh Lord, this is going to happen. I mean, in the Bible, you have all kinds of different interpretations of the book of Revelation. Some think all of it's already happened. Some think, no, it hasn't happened, it's going to happen. Some think we're so close to the second coming and Jesus is going to physically appear in a certain time, in this place in the Middle East where he said he would come back the way he left. And people are so into the physicality of what they perceive to be what will happen both in the tribulation and Armageddon, and then in the coming of the false prophet, and the coming of the Antichrist, and the coming of Christ again. All of this is emblematic of your spiritual journey toward God, toward the God within you, to become who you truly are. And whether or not in your physical lifetime any of this will occur doesn't matter, because look at the book of Revelation and look at all the prophecies as something that is indicative of a means to an end, which is the path of initiation of you mastering who you are through love, through virtue, through holiness, to become one with God. We keep thinking that this teaching, this prophecy, that prophecy is so important for what's going to happen in the next year, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, or beyond. Does it really matter? Spirit matters. What is spirit? God. Be in the zone of the one, the Zion of the one, the zone of the one. What does that mean? Lay all of your cares, worries, concerns, frustrations upon the heart of the one. Surrender to divine love. Live in the integrity and the principled life of one who chooses to be virtuous always, and live in accord with the law of the one. And then no matter what happens, when it happens, whether in this or another so-called lifetime, you are in the sacred space of divine beingness in the heart of God, because you allow God's heart to shine forth through your heart. And true love is manifest in your life at every turn. You treat everyone equally. You love everyone equally. You serve everyone equally. In the sense that there is no division within you to say, this is better than that, this is holier than that. Everything is God. All are anointed in the spirit of oneness. And resolution occurs in the most beautiful unfolding of the divine plan within your life. You don't worry about every other person's life, except that your children, of course, you care for, you tend to. Your relatives are your responsibility to care for and tend to and assist. Beyond that, you live in accord with the laws of compassion, kindness, mercy, and grace. You give in a spirit of true givingness. And then, no matter what happens in the outer world, you have become the prophecy and the fulfillment of the second coming, because Christ has come within your life. You are now an anointed one. You have become merged with the Son of God, both S-O-N and daughter, and S-U-N as a son being. All prophecy comes down to, what are you willing to do now in your life to live in a prophetic state where you profess God in every moment, to be at the center of your life, the center of your universe, the center of your very being. When you can prophesy the truth, the way, and the life, as a Christed one, as Jesus did, then many may come to you for help, for healing, for support, for love, for encouragement. And then you become, in that prophetic state, a great giver of life and love to all. Thank you, beloved Saint Germain. I think this answer answers so many questions about prophecy to me. It's beyond the beyond in terms of not worrying about the future or being over concerned about when are earthquakes going to happen. And I get so many different things sent to me, somebody professing that they looked at the astrology and, oh, these earthquakes are ready to happen, boy. And all these videos of so-called near-death experiences where, oh, it's going to start on this date, and then the date comes and goes and didn't happen, and then what? What is that to thee? Follow thou me, the Christ within, and be the way, the truth, and the life of a true Christed one. Saint Germain's words are so beautiful, so clear. This is the clearest I've ever heard any teaching on the true meaning of the book of Revelation. I didn't have to go into all the details. Maybe some of those things are important to understand in certain dynamics. Yet, what does it really matter? I'm not saying it the way Hillary said it. I'm saying it the way Saint Germain says it. What does it really matter? Spirit is here. Spirit matters, right? Spirit matters.